Alright, Nick, this video is for you. You sent me your tinyhawk freestyle to do some upgrades on, and that's what I did. So let's take a look at what they are. Let me grab it here. Here it is. Okay. So, obviously it doesn't look like it's stock. It's almost a completely different quad, minus the motors and the flight controller. So, I don't know if you can see here, but there's another board right here that I put in. This is the Tiny's LEDs. You can see right there it says Tiny's LEDs. Pretty cool little board that they make. And it mounts a Unify Pro 32 Nano right here, along with a receiver right here. You can use pretty much like a XM Plus or a Crossfire Nano. I got an XM Plus in there, and it's actually not too bad once you solder up the VTX to the board. And then the receiver, you have to have it like as close to the board as possible, but it kind of hangs over the VTX, so you got to have some space in there. So you can see here I got some foam tape right in here. You got to use the pins, but you can't use the little black spacers that are on the pins. Let me see. I don't have any out here. Those little black oh, here's one. The little black plastic spacers that come on the pins. You actually got to take those off. So what you do is stick this up in the receiver. Actually, for XM Plus, it's only 3 pins, so you'd want to make sure you got the right amount of pins. So there's your 3 pins. You'd stick this in the receiver, solder it to the receiver, then pull those plastic pieces off. They'll just slide down the pins. From there, you can stick a piece of foam tape on the bottom of the receiver. Then you can stick these pins into the Tiny's LED board and kind of push down on the receiver while you're soldering the pins. It's kind of hard to do. I almost wished I had more hands, but I was able to do it no problem on my own. So you should be able to do it too. And solder it up, the 3 pins, and there you go. You got your receiver on there, you got your VTX. And then on this side, well, the first thing you got to do is you got to cut the old VTX out. Actually, what you do is you desolder it, and it's really hard to desolder pins on something. It's such a pain in the ass, because most of the time you'll either rip the pads off or pretty much just rip the pads off. That's the main problem that you'll end up having. So you got to be really careful. These pins are super tiny on the stock VTX, so you got to kind of just put your iron right in the middle and kind of pull up on the board while you're heating it up. And then the other 2 are over here. You do the same thing, and then the old VTX comes off, and you're left with just the pins. And you want to make sure they're cleaned up so that they'll slide through the holes on the tiny LED board. And then that's where you get your power, ground, and smart audio, and something else. I don't know what the 4 pins are, but I'm trying to think. Power, ground, oh, your video. Okay, so video out, power, ground, and smart audio. So yeah, then you just slide your new board on there, solder the 4 little tiny pins, and they're so tiny you need a nice fine tip. Pretty much that size. That's the one that I use. So let's see. And then your Runcam Nano 2 is the other upgrade, so it's an upgraded camera. And you need these little TPU pieces. You can find them on Thingiverse. I actually had Race Day Quads print these out using their custom 3D print service, which was super fast. I was very impressed with them. I mean, it was like 1 day and it was done. I emailed them the file, and then like the next day they had already printed it out and shipped it. So I'm sure it didn't take very long to print these, but yeah, it was a fast service. I was very pleased with it, and it wasn't bad either. I think it was like $5 or something, I want to say. I don't remember, but it was something like that. So the total upgrades is Runcam Nano 2, Unify Pro 32 Nano, XM Plus, Axi Micro, and that's it. So I had to cut the old plug off the camera and solder it to the new camera, and then it just plugs right in right here where the old camera plugged in. And that's it. These TPU pieces that hold the camera, they actually replace the old standoffs. So you don't use the old standoffs, you just use these TPU pieces in the front. So you're gonna get, now you're gonna have 400 milliwatts of power for your VTX. You're gonna have much longer range with your receiver because those stock receivers just suck and they're not diversity. Now you got diversity. And I did flash the receiver before I installed it, so it does have RSSI as well. And that's pretty much it. It's good to go. Somebody was asking about the weight difference. I don't know what the stock weight is of these. I'm sure I could figure it out if I watched. I mean, I've never even checked this thing out before. I just didn't even care to. I don't know why, but I just didn't even care. I don't know why. It's just certain things excite me, you know, and I like and I want. It's never a bind and fly though. I don't know if it's because I am just so used to building quads myself, but I've never wanted a bind and fly. When I've seen one come out, I just never wanted one. I never bought one, really. I take that back. I have owned a Emax Baby Hawk before, the Baby Hawk R, but that's pretty much it. Actually, I don't even think I bought that. I think I traded it to somebody. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. It's ready to go. Let me show you real quick, I guess. So I fixed your battery cable. It was snipped in half. I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, but I resoldered it, and I actually extended the wires so it's a little bit longer to be able to mount your batteries up here. I gave you this battery strap. It's a very nice battery strap, much better than the stock one. The stock one is just a piece of junk. You might as well just throw it in the garbage as soon as you get it. It's just straight garbage. I mean, I guess it would do what it's supposed to do, but it's just a piece of junk. It's worthless. And then I also gave you some of this rubber battery holder stuff, so it'll keep your batteries from sliding around. I don't know why they wouldn't put that on there. I mean, oh, come on. Damn it, I gotta take this call. Hello. Alright, that was a nice phone call. Okay. Back to business. I did unlock the VTX and I set it to 400 milliwatts for you. I don't know if you wanted it on that, but that's what it's set to. But smart audio is also hooked up. Shoot, I don't remember if this is still bound to my radio. I bound it up to my radio just to make sure it would arm, and it does arm, so that's good. Come on. I guess I don't really need to do this. I'm not going to fly it. I did hover it. I didn't flash it, so I don't know what firmware is on it, but it seemed like the idle was pretty high. So there's your video. You got OSD and everything. Looks good. But yeah, the idle seemed like it was really high. I mean, it was like, as soon as I armed it, it was just ready to go, you know. I mean, it didn't take off, but it was pretty close. So you might want to lower that down a little bit. If it's on like Betaflight 4.0.4, I think, or newer, or maybe even a little bit older than that, but they started setting the idle to 5.5 instead of 4.0. So what I usually do is I'll take it back down to at least 5, sometimes like 4.5. So you might want to do that. And I guess that's about it. Pretty nice little upgrades for this guy. The motors seem pretty nice. But stock, as it is stock, I mean, obviously it's not as good as it could be since Tiny LEDs makes this board for it, because, you know, their VTX sucks. It just sucks, and they're using the same one that they used in The old tinyhawk, like the last 2 models that they put out, it's still the same exact VTX, same exact camera. So I don't know why they come out with new stuff, but they're using old stuff. It's ridiculous. So this is what it should have came with. It probably wouldn't be $99 though then. But that's why all these binding flies are so cheap, because they're using cheap stuff. And that's why they're always breaking. I always see people like, I got one good flight out of this binding fly and then just stop working. Yeah. That's what's gonna happen. Alright, enough rambling. I will get this boxed up and shipped out to you and send you over tracking. Alright, thanks, Nick.